When it comes to time management and productivity, the main problem I've always had is that I feel like I'm busy, I'm always working, but at the end of the day, I still feel like I haven't made significant progress towards my goals. I've always struggled to both manage my time efficiently and effectively. If this sounds familiar, don't worry, you're not alone, and the good news is that there's one simple solution, and that is incorporating both a calendar and a to-do list into your daily life. It seems obvious, right? These are the two most basic productivity tools, calendar and a to-do list, but how you use these tools can really be the deciding factor in whether you have a productive, fulfilling day where you make significant progress towards your goals, or whether you have a day full of busy work where your life doesn't really move forward at all. I've tried countless different to-do lists and productivity methods and have had mixed results with all of them. The one problem that I would consistently have is that I would spend too much time on tasks that didn't significantly move the needle forward towards my goals. If you clicked on this video, I imagine you're probably experiencing some of the same problems, so definitely stick around because in this video, I'll be going through my new minimalist to-do list and calendar setup that I've been using to optimize my time and get the work done that actually matters. Let's start with the to-do list. The key here is to just keep it as simple as possible. There are countless productivity tools and methods out there that overcomplicate things and make you end up spending more time planning out what you're going to do than actually doing the things. I'd recommend just using an app for your to-do list. You can go the paper route too, but I've never tried it and I imagine it'd be a lot more difficult to stay on top of it and keep it organized. Your to-do list only really needs two main features, a way to quickly capture ideas and then organize tasks into two main categories: deep work and shallow work. I personally like to use Things 3 for this, but any basic to-do list app will work, like Apple Reminders or Todoist. So your brain is great at coming up with things that you need to do, but it's not so great at remembering those tasks for later. So that's why you need a way to quickly input a task into your to-do list as soon as you think of it so you can come back to it later. Most apps will have a feature like this where you can easily just tap on a widget and it'll quickly add a task to your inbox. And then at the end of the day during your shutdown ritual, I'll talk more about what that means later. You basically want to go through your inbox of tasks that you've added throughout the day and categorize them as either deep work or shallow work. This concept comes from Cal Newport's book Deep Work, so I would definitely check out that book if you want to learn more on this topic. These tend to be the most difficult tasks that require the most focus, so like recording a YouTube video or writing that final paper that you've been procrastinating on. And there should really only be a handful of tasks in this category, and if you've got more than that, you might want to reconsider what are the core actions that will actually help you make progress towards achieving your goals in life. And on the other hand, we have the shallow tasks, and these are the more logistical tasks that won't actually move the needle forward too much. So this could be like redoing the channel banner on my YouTube page, or maybe reorganizing your notes for school with pretty colors and stuff like that. It's these things that maybe do need to be done at some point and will provide some kind of benefit to your life, but at the end of the day aren't really going to significantly change much when it comes to achieving your goals. When you've been procrastinating on a major deep work task, you might find yourself suddenly feeling motivated to do random shallow work tasks like washing the dishes in order to still feel productive when in reality you're not doing what really matters. Alright, so you've categorized your tasks, but how do you decide what to focus on and when? Well, that's where the calendar comes in. The key with the calendar is to literally schedule out every minute of your day, leaving no gaps in between. You want to have this full calendar with all these different colors and stuff for all of the major things that you do on a daily basis. It might take a while to set this up at first, but it'll definitely be worth it in the long run. You basically want to go through and start putting in these different blocks for different things that you do. The easiest place to start is by just filling in when you're going to wake up and go to sleep, and then you can add when you're going to eat meals, when you're going to work out, your deep work sessions, your shallow work sessions, your shutdown ritual, and then any time for leisure and just recharging. And all of this is done the day before, that way you can just wake up and get started knowing exactly what you need to do at any given time. As for the specific timing of everything, that's really up to you. Everyone's lifestyles are different. Everyone has different amounts of time to dedicate to different things, but I think everyone should really have at least those main 7 categories or so filling up their calendar on any given day. Here's an example of what a basic calendar setup might look like, and I'll try to put some sort of screen recording visual on screen for you to follow along with. All right, so let's start with just the wake up and sleep time. So let's say you want to wake up around 6 a.m. and do your morning routine until 7 a.m. And because you want to get 8 hours of sleep, because you know sleep is important, you want to go to sleep by around 10 p.m. Next, for meals, let's say you want to have breakfast at 8:30 a.m., lunch at 1 p.m., and dinner at 6 p.m. And then for workouts, let's say we work out at 12 p.m. right before lunch. And then for deep work sessions, how about we do one deep work session at 7 a.m., one at 9 a.m. I like to aim for anywhere between 3 and 4 deep work sessions per day and an average of maybe 60 or 90 minutes at a time, with at least 15 to 30 minutes of recharge time in between each deep work session. And again, this is where you really lock in and focus on your most important tasks while minimizing distractions. Next, let's just schedule in one shallow work session. So maybe at 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. And I would try to limit your shallow work as much as possible. And I just aim for one session per day of shallow work. And finally, we want to schedule a shutdown ritual. I just put this at 5:30 p.m. And what the shutdown ritual basically means is I like to spend around 30 minutes at the end of my workday where I clean up my to-do list, write down anything that I think of that I need to do, and categorize it as either deep work or shallow work, and then I schedule the next day on my calendar. What this looks like in practice is that I'll have these deep work or shallow work events that repeat on my calendar every day, and then when it comes to planning the next day, I'll look at my to-do list under deep work, pick a task, and then just rename that deep work event on my calendar to that specific task so I know which deep work task I'll be working on at that time. And finally, it's really important to have a dedicated recharge time, whether that be in between deep work sessions or at the end of the day where you can just relax and not focus on anything in particular, so that you'll have that energy to really sit down and focus when you get back to a deep work session the next day. So that's what a basic calendar setup might look like. Again, just make sure to adjust it as needed to cater towards what your specific lifestyle might look like. Things will happen and you're not going to be able to follow your calendar 100% of the time every day. But as long as you follow your calendar, even just 50% of the time, I promise that you'll have a much more productive day than if you had not planned out anything or followed any sort of to-do list or calendar at all. Of course, I'm not saying that this is a perfect productivity system. I don't think that exists, but it's been working for me lately as someone who easily gets caught up in shallow work and often avoids the important tasks. And even if you give another approach or method a try, and I do encourage you to modify this method to fit your personal needs, I promise that simply incorporating a calendar or to-do list into your daily life, if you haven't already, will massively level up your productivity and just your life in general. And if you already feel like you've mastered your productivity, which I don't think anyone really has, and you feel comfortable using a calendar or a to-do list, check out the next video from my series on leveling up your life right here. Make sure to do something today that your future self will thank you for.